Warning, this episode contains adult language, mature situations, a technopathic detective, scenic images of Iceland, and often forgotten subplot and manga news. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spiraken Manga Review. I'm your host Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? Hope you're doing well and hope you're excited for another fun-filled episode of this awesome podcast. You can find www.spiraken.com and on YouTube. And with that in mind, let's actually get to the review of the episode because this is one that's kind of different and, let's get to it. So if you remember from the last episode, I spun that one that only the Wheel of Manga, and it dictated unto me that I'd be reviewing a manga that is truly beautiful and very weird. That was actually written by Aki Irie, who's known for Ray in the World. This was published by Enterbrain, but brought over to us by Vertical Incorporated. That's a subsection of Kodansha, formerly run by Ed Chavez. This is released originally in Harta magazine, then moved over to Aokishi magazine. Original run was 2016, and it is still coming out to this day. There are 7 volumes currently. It is not complete, and this is an adventure drama mystery series that is a seinen. An original title was Hokuhokusei no Nikomo to Yuke, but in English it translates as Go with the Cloud, North by Northwest. And to be honest, this is a very conflicting and confusing and weird manga that is unique in its beauty. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell is he talking about? Well, this is a story about a guy who is very weird. Who, when we first meet him, he flipped a car. He flipped a car over and he's talking to the car oddly. Well, that's actually his little shtick. Our main character is Kei Miyama. He is a Japanese teenager who's 17 years old who works as a private investigator in Iceland. This is a travel manga, essentially, because it focuses specifically on Iceland and the love of the area, which is kind of heartwarming and cool because it shows the love that Aki Irie had when she traveled the world. And she admits she decided after she finished Ran in the Grey World that she was going to go on a vacation and went around the world, did a bunch of things, like she shot a gun in Hawaii, and she traveled, and her favorite place in the world was Iceland because it was so different. And this is a love letter to Iceland with all the beautiful scenery and unique elements to it, discussing all the food and whatnot. And that's what this is. It's a story about Iceland. Well, not exactly, because, as I said, our main character, Kei, is an detective who investigates things, and also he has a unique ability. He is a technopath. He can talk to machines. He can not control them, but he can discuss them. So if he grabs a phone on the floor, he can talk to it, see what's going on. If he grabs a wire for a camera, he can find out when it was last used, when it was last charged, because it will talk to him. His cars constantly talk to him and tell him lots of things like, give me gas, don't run me into a wall, things like that. It's kind of cool and a little different, but that's not why we come to this story. The story is the sideline to the beauty that is drawn in this art. Full manga. It's all the things you see, just these beautiful images. And for the first chapter, just him hanging out in a car. Just talking about it, observing his the person he's chasing after, and trying to figure out what is going on. A mysterious girl does show up. She is really not important until volume 2. She just shows up, and at first we think that she's maybe Mirage, a ghost from Iceland, but that's not entirely the case. And as I said, the artwork is why you check out this manga. The artwork is phenomenal. And this is a very slow burn manga, which deals with Kei as he is living in Iceland with his grandfather. And more importantly than that, besides solving these cases that he has to deal with, there is a deeper mystery going on. Specifically one that involves his younger brother, Michitaka, who he hasn't seen in years because when his parents died, he went to live with their grandfather, Jacques, who is a Frenchman, so he's half Japanese, half French. Kind of cool element there. Meanwhile, Michitaka ends up living with his aunt and uncle in Japan. And he hasn't heard from his brother in a couple of weeks. And when he calls the number for aunt and uncle, the phone has been disconnected. So there's a mystery going on. And while it would be fascinating for him to have gone back there and focus completely on this mystery, what they do instead is after discovering his brother may have came back to Iceland, he's going to go, I'm going to go to Iceland and hang around and fuck around for a bit. That's what this is. And then it's him in Iceland waiting for his brother. Then his brother shows up. Then his brother disappears. But then we kind of forget that plot for a while. And then it's literally just him going around Iceland and looking at it. And that is the manga. Now, there are a lot of very clever elements with this. I mean, the story is dynamic and different with its ways of him solving these different cases. For example, the first case that takes 2 volumes to go through is he's chasing after a guy for a dog because a lady wants him to get the dog. But the problem is that it's not just about the dog, it's about the guy. And how he gets the dog to go with him is really smart. He's like, oh, I see that you love your dog. Can I play fetch with him for a second? Grabs the ball, throws the ball at the car. Ball goes into the car. He runs his car and drives off. Kind of clever. But then we get into what's really going on about that it's not the dog, it's him she wants, and that is what the story is about. It's one of these stories which is more about the journey than the plot itself. And as I said, the artwork in this is truly beautiful. It is one which it's mesmerizing at times and unique and weird. And if you've never been to Iceland, which I've never been to, but I've seen video and images of it, it's a magical place that you really want to go to. And what can I say? It's just one of those things where you really can't describe it unless you've been to it. And it gives you a bit of wanderlust. But we're not talking about the wanderlust. We're not talking about Iceland. We're talking about the manga itself. Go with the Clouds. This is a story that does go with the clouds. It very much is a let's see this character and follow where he goes. There isn't a here's point A, here's point B, we're getting there. This is very meandering and it waves all over the place. And on the one hand, it is a unique way to tell a manga. And I do appreciate that. However, if you're looking for a solid plot that follows point A to point B, it doesn't, because by 3 volumes in, it feels like they kind of forget the whole murder plot and they're just focusing on all these other things that are going on. All these other characters that really don't show up, because none of the characters are established except for Kay and his grandfather and this lady, Litka, who hired him to find this old man who was with him, and, well, that's his grandfather, because his grandfather's a bit of a lech. And, well, what can I say? It is a manga that is just... It's baffling that it's a manga that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. There is no in the middle. And unfortunately, as a manga reviewer, since I've read so many manga over the years, I am stuck in the middle, actually. I liked a lot of elements about this manga. I love the fact that the cover actually has Nordic phrases on Icelandic phrases on it, and they're images which say, here's the Icelandic word for it, and you want to read more about that and translate it. The images of the scenery are beautiful. There's an entire chapter which is just devoted to them meeting a random person and hanging out their house, and they're eating mutton because Kay is obsessed with meat. He eats meat all the time, and that is a whole chapter. But then it goes into the whole murder mystery where your brother isn't who you think he is, and we get a detective who's chasing after the brother who says that he's involved in more than what he seems. But then they leave you this huge plot point, but then we're going to forget about it and do something else. It's stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. And I'm on the fence about this because on the one hand, this is beautiful artwork and I love a lot of the concepts about it. On the other hand, it's a story which the fact that it forgets the narrative is a little frustrating. And honestly, here's what I'm going to do. I was really debating on giving this a gift from Crazy Aunt Muriel, but because the artwork is so intricate and detailed, and it is like looking at a photo, I'm going to bump this up to our second highest rating of Borrow from a Friend and Don't Return Unless Offered Pocky. It is a great manga. It's just, it needs to be fine-tweaked. It has to be fixed a little bit. You may hate this and think it is a gift from Crazy Aunt Muriel, or take it to a priest and burn it. You may hate this manga. I don't know. But let me know what your thoughts are. Email me zanspiraken.com or tweet me at Spiraken. Let me know if you like this or don't like this or think it's weird. Also, for the random question for the day, I have actually a really cool one, which is, what exotic country would you like a manga to be set in? Where in the world would you like to see more about besides Japan, France, America, and England? Where else would you like to see something different, something unique? I mean, would you like to see a manga that's set in Australia, or do you want one that's set in Tibet? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Email me at zan@spiraken.com. And with that, let's actually to the manga releases for the week, because we have a large amount of them. So let's go. So for this week, the manga releases that we've got include "15 Minutes Before We Really Date" Volume 2. Apparently, Disillusioned Adventurers Will Save the World Volume 4, the light novel. Associate Professor Akira Tatsuki's Conjecture Volume 3, the manga. Backstabbed in a backwater dungeon, my party tried to kill me, but thanks to an infinity gotcha, I got level 9999 friends and aim out for revenge, the manga, Volume 5. Beaufree, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max... Oh, sorry. Banished from the hero's party, I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside, Volume 7. Now we have Beaufree, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense, Volume 12, the light novel. Bungo Stray Dogs 1, Volume 7. Call the Soldier of the Night, Volume 4. Chain Soldier, Volume 7. Chitose is in the Ramune Bottle, Volume 6. Classrooms of the Elite, Volume 2, light novel, Volume 8. Daily Report About My Witch Senpai, Volume 3. The Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy, Volume 5, the manga, not the light novel. The Do-Over Damsel Conquers the Dragon Emperor, Volume 3. The Evil Queen's Beautiful Principles, light novel, Volume 1. Fox Color Jealousy. Gap Papa, Daddy at Work and at Home, Volume 4. Goblin Slayer, Volume 14 of the manga. Gokurakugai, Volume 1. This one's getting a lot of buzz. Everyone's talking about this, and every single store is actually promoting this one, so this has got to be something interesting. High School DxD, Volume 13, the light novel. Hollow Regali, Volume 4, the light novel. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, manga, Volume 18. I kept pressing the million-year button and came out on top, Volume 5 of the manga and Volume 7 of the light novel. I Want You to Make Me Beautiful, the complete manga collection. I'm the Villainous, So I'm Taming the Final Boss, Volume 8 light novel. The Illustrated Guide to Monster Girls, Volume 3. Jujutsu Kaisen, Volume 22. This one's been long awaited for the JJK. Kiss the Scars of the Girls, Volume 2. Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage, Volume 2. Magical Explorer, Volume 7 light novel, reborn as a side character in a fantasy dating sim. Moroku-chan, Volume 9, and this one looks really tentacly, so maybe a little bit cringy. Then we have The Misfits of Demon King Academy, Volume 3, the light novel. Mission Yazakura Family, Volume 10. We've officially gone really far in this series, and apparently some cool stuff happens in this one. I've been devouring this manga since we reviewed it. I love it so much. But anyway, then we have My Cat is Such a Weirdo, Volume 3. More antics with the cats. My Gemini. My instant death ability is so overpowered, no one in this other world stands a chance against me. AO, Volume 4, the manga. So this is a spin-off of this series, which goes even more insane and more ridiculous. And this manga is like One Punch Man, where the joke is the same every chapter, but you gotta love it. My Mate is a Feline Gentleman, UK Arc Under. My New Life as a Cat, Volume 5. My Poison Princess is Still Cute, Volume 2. No Longer Heroine, Volume 6. Obey Me, the comic, Volume 2. Once Upon a Witch's Death, The Tale of the 1,000 Tears of Joy, Volume 1. Meg Raspberry Has a Year to Live, the manga. Our Last Crusade of the Rise of a New World, Secret File, Volume 2, light novel. The Reformation of the World as overseen by a realistic Demon King, Volume 3. Revere and the Land of Prayer, Volume 1, the light novel. Sabuke Bisco, Volume 7, the light novel. Saint, No, I'm Just a Passing Beast Tamer, Volume 3, The Invincible Saint and the Quest for Floof, the manga. Scribbles, Volume 6. Secrets of the Silent Witch, Volume 4.5 After. Shy, Volume 6. Snowball Earth, Volume 1. So What's Wrong with Getting Reborn as a Goblin, Volume 5. Stay by My Side After the Rain, Volume 1. Steel of Celestial Shadows, Volume 2. Studio Apartment, Good Lighting, Angel Included, Volume 5. The Summer Hikari Died, Volume 3. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 18, the light novel. Toge Oni, Primal Gods in Ancient Times, Volume 3 has finally been released. This is where we finally get the reason for certain people's motivations. Trinity 7, Revision, Volume 1. This is a re-release. Undead Unluck, Volume 15. The Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elena, Volume 13, the light novel. The Weakest Tamer Begins a Journey to Pick Up Trash, light novel, Volume 6. When I Become a Commoner, They Broke Off Our Engagement, Volume 2. And last, certainly not least, we have You Can't See the Snow, the manga. And these are our, 65 manga that were released this week. So which one were you most excited about, or which one were you not excited about? Let me know. Email me, zan@spiraken.com. For me personally, my top 5 are going to be The Evil Queen's Beautiful Principles, light novel, Volume 1. Gakura Kugai, Volume 1, because this one, like I said, is getting a lot of buzz. My Gemini. This is a one-shot that the artwork looks beautiful in. One Spot, which is Death, Meg Raspberry Has a Year to Live, is a interesting premise. I think it reminds me of The Sculptor. If you've ever read that graphic novel where it's about someone who gets infinite power but only has a year to live. So, could be really good, could be really bad. And then Snowball Earth, Volume 1, a weird sci-fi post-apocalypse story that, I haven't had a good weird sci-fi post-apocalypse story in a while, so we're going to see if this is any good or not. But let me know which ones you're most excited about or which ones you kind of hate. Let me know. Email me, zan@spiraken.com. And before we go any further, I'd like to tell you, each and every one of you, that I appreciate every email I get, every comment I get, and thank you so much for checking out this podcast. Every just comment gives me more motivation to keep doing this, and I love doing this. And I just got a comment for last episode, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. So thank you so much. But anyway, before we go any further, if you are watching on YouTube, remember to like, share, subscribe, click on that bell for notification for when we release new episodes. If you want to check us out at any other spot, we are on Spotify, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spiraken.com, Apple Podcasts. Like, share, leave comments. Let me know what I'm doing right. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Also, a quick question. Some people have been commenting that they don't like the intro where I do the warning. Would you like me to get rid of the warning completely? Would you like me to completely reinvent it? Or do you want me just to have that on the audio podcast and then keep it off of the YouTube episodes? Let me know. Email me at Zan, that's Xan, @spiraken.com. And with that in mind, let's get to the part that you have all been waiting for, the most popular part of this podcast. And what are we talking about? We are talking about, of course, that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga! Yes, friends, the Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on. What I've done is I've assigned a manga title to each of the 10 slots. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin the wheel. Whatever number it lands on, that's the manga review of the next episode of the Spiraken Manga, episode 554. And we have a lot of really great titles on here, and I'm hoping to everything that I don't get 5 or 10 or 1, because we've had that so many times. But let's spin and see what we're going to get, shall we? One more step, come stand here. This is a anthology manga, which looks to be beautiful. We're going to find out how it goes. Kind of excited about that. But, as usual, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. I am your host, Zan. I am Gonzville. I'll catch you guys next time. And keep reading manga. See you later.